This is a Case 1845B Uni-Loader. It's made by NZG and it's in 1/35th scale. Now, you might have noticed I said Uni-Loader. It's written right there on the cab. That was Case's name for their skid loader line. The idea was that rather than just say it's a Case skid loader, it would be a Uni-Loader, much like the way that a lot of people will see any brand of skid loader and just call it a Bobcat because it's kind of the universally accepted name. You know, it's a Bobcat. Case wanted to do the same thing by labeling them as Uni-Loaders. They wanted people to look at other brands and say, oh, well, that's a Uni-Loader, and just have that association with the skid loaders. And it didn't really pan out, but they stuck with it for probably 20 years. And they don't label their skid loaders Uni-Loaders anymore, but for a long time they did. Now this is pretty much the basic Case skid loader design that they used for a pretty long time. And their, I want to say radial lift machines now are still basically the same. One thing you notice here is you have this interesting bucket linkage on the loader arms. And the idea was that as the loader arms came up, and they're pretty stiff on this model here, the linkage would push out and would keep the bucket level the whole way up. They don't use this system anymore, and one of the reasons is that you really don't need it. If you're doing a lot of work with a set of pallet forks, it makes sense and it's useful, but other than that though, you just have an awful lot more grease points, plus you have just that many more pins and bushings that'll wear out over time and just start to rattle and, you know, everything else. So they don't use it anymore, but at the time they did, and it was kind of an interesting feature, especially the time that these would have been produced. Now, this is just a pretty basic model here. Like I said, the loader arms are super stiff, but the range of motion is actually pretty good. Let's see. I think that's up all the way. That's pretty close to what it would be. And the bucket's pretty good too. I mean, that's a really good dumping angle. That's pretty accurate. And the same as with it rolling back too. It's pretty darn good. The detail on the inside is really not bad. Again, considering the time frame that this would have been made, it's pretty good. And you look in there, you can see just a little bit of motor detail. Nothing opens up, nothing really moves. Like I said, it's a very basic model, but so is the machine, so it's a pretty fair representation, I would think. Overall, it's not bad. It's nice to have a little bit bigger of a model there. You know, I like it. The paint's pretty good. The decals are pretty good. You can see that's a little bit off. Yeah, it kind of runs downhill a little bit, but it's definitely not bad. These are pretty cheap models to come across. They're not hard to find at all. You can find pretty much all the versions of the Case skid loaders that NZG made. I don't think Conrad made any. I think they're all NZG, but I'm not. Oh no, that's not true. Conrad did do the I want to say it's the 95 XT. The later versions of the Case skid loaders Conrad did, but these were all NZG. It's kind of interesting how NZG made some of the Case 1/35th scale and Conrad made the other half. I'm not sure what determined what models got made when or how, but it's kind of interesting that you had the two brands making very similar models. So anyway, that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. And as always, thanks for watching.